Welcome to Conversations Different, a podcast from the Santa Fe New Mexican about interesting people, places, and issues of northern New Mexico. I'm Inez Russell Gomez, and today we are really excited to talk to Dr. Christine Griffin, the newly appointed and superintendent of the Santa Fe Public Schools. You've been on the job just over a month as we talk, right?
Absolutely. This is week 5, just
Wow.
entering.
So, what's it been like the first month?
It's been amazing and also super, uh, just an incredible opportunity of learning.
That
Yeah. Yes.
I
I've
bet.
really enjoyed the people the
Okay.
most, and they're very welcoming, very kind, very eager to help. And that is, I couldn't ask for anything more.
That's that's wonderful. And I think when you come, there's such a learning curve because I don't know, have you visited like every school or do you have like 3 a day until you get all of them? How does that work? Just getting to
So,
know the place.
Yeah, one of my first priorities was learning about the safety and security measures that have been taken across all of our campuses. And so we are very fortunate enough to have an incredible safety and security team who have taken me to every site. I have one more school to visit, and we've walked through. They've talked about all of the safety measures that they've taken into place over the past several years. And I'm just very impressed with with how ready our schools are for students, and that they're ready, they're safe and ready to go.
Oh, that's nice to hear. They spend a lot of money at one point, part of it I think with COVID dollars and different things, making sure that there's the glass that doesn't break, safety glass, and
Yep.
there's a good way in. I mean, I remember when my kid was in elementary school, you could just walk in the door and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And now it's a much more secure process.
Yeah. So I've seen the safety glass. It's so sad that we have to think about these things, first of
No, it
all,
is.
right? It's horrible. And we don't like to create barriers for families. And we have to almost be over helpful because of just that initial, like, being buzzed in, right? Like, the
Yeah.
parents already coming to our schools, they're already stressed out a little bit sometimes, and to have to be buzzed in, but really they understand. And so we just have to be a little bit overly hopeful
Yeah.
to
And I think most
eliminate
people
that
are just
barrier.
happy that their kids are safe.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
So, what led you to apply for this job in the first place? Because you were in a pretty sweet spot. Because
Yes.
Prescott is a really beautiful town.
And I've spent my entire career in Yavapai. Really, what led me to it's very serendipitous. It's really incredible. I look back at the past 2 months and I just shake my head in awe that this wonderful opportunity presented itself, and I was able to take advantage of it. My stepmother called me, and she said, they're hiring. They're looking for a superintendent." And I was like, very interested, very interesting. And I started doing my research on the school district and the community and our board members. And I was just really blown away with the amount of support that our community has for our schools. And I knew I wanted to be part of that.
Oh, that's exciting. I think about, a new job is always thrilling, but you're coming to a district that's, sadly, like so many, we're losing a little population.
Mhm.
We have to sell a bond issue, and you just hear that federal education funds are being frozen.
Right.
So I imagine you're having a lot of work right now.
It is. There's a as you know, the whole facilities master plan. Even that's a plan that comes out every 5 years, and that's happening on my watch in the first 4 weeks. So there is a lot happening, a lot going on. There's adjustments that I knew were happening across the nation with just birth rates, and there's a trend in our schools that of losing about 5% of student population every year, and so you can just sort of see that downward trend. And it's not anything that Santa Fe is doing wrong or different. It's just a national trend. So we have to be able to proactively plan for that and prepare for that, make sure that we have really highly qualified teachers in our classrooms for our students. And with everything that's happening federally, We just have to stay the course, and we have to continue on and not get too bought into um, this immediate reactive nature. Like we're going to be okay. We're going to figure it out, and we're going to do what's right for kids.
Yeah, that's really important, but at the same time, you start school in as we tape, it's not even a month, I think.
Right.
So and what do you do if there's no money for English language learning or, the 21st learning classrooms shut down after school?
Sure.
Yeah,
And this is such new information for us to have that backup plan to be able to pivot. I need to bring a group of people around the table and to be able to plan. One thing that, and I hate saying this word because it's such a dirty word. One thing that COVID taught us is that we can pivot on a dime, right? Like we just need to have the right people around the table. We need to bring in our community. We need to be able to engage in some conversations of, instead of me being really reactive, let's pause for a minute, let's sit down and let's talk this through and see how we best can come together to serve our students.
right. Because you're not you're in the moment and it may or may not become a budget crisis, but you don't want to just say we're going to get rid of X or Y. You want to see how you can come together and figure it out so that you offer the services that kids need to succeed.
Sure. And there may be community members out there that say, oh, that 21st century learning class that you no longer can fund, we can help with that while we figure this out, right?
Right.
It's just a crisis is an opportunity in disguise. So,
Yeah. Yeah. One of the interesting things about Santa Fe is that when COVID happened, because they had really taken full advantage of their education technology notes, every kid already had a device to take home. So they were able to switch to online learning, very quickly. And not a lot of districts in the country were in that good of a position.
it Santa Fe is really, it really is different. It isn't like any other place. The amount of innovation and just thoughtful uh, preparation has, the foundation is there. It is amazing to me, all of the really incredible programs and opportunities that we have in place that other places don't have, right? They're just figuring out and finding out about these things, and we already have them.
Yeah. And it's the community is always hard on its schools, and of course, people are upset because test scores aren't as high as everyone wants them to be, and
Yes,
there's real challenges that, we have to overcome, but I think sometimes in criticizing, you forget that not every district has some of the, has childcare for teachers, for example, or staff,
right.
or things for kids that go beyond the classroom. We have a lot of perks that we need to brag about.
Absolutely, the bilingual programs. There's just even like I was at the high school and the opportunities that our high school students have for AP classes and dual credit and the partnerships with the colleges and local businesses with some of the internships that our students
Yeah,
are
that's
able
a
to
great program.
do. So many things to celebrate and to focus on.
Yeah, and what I like is if people think that kids do better if they have a focus on careers, at all the high schools, there's something you can study that could get you a job almost immediately if you're not ready to go to a regular college or even a two-year college. So you can graduate ready to work, and that's so important.
I couldn't agree more. It's definitely one of those heartstrings of mine, is ensuring that if college isn't your first stop along the way, that you have a certificate that makes you highly hireable and
Yeah,
competitive in the job market. Because
yeah.
we know that kids these days are going to have 7 different careers in their
Oh,
lifetime. 7 careers. It's
yeah.
not even like jobs. So we have to get them ready. We have to get them ready.
And part of it is just being able to adjust. Like people like me who are old, I wanted to do one thing, I did one thing, and now at the end of it with all the new technology that's coming in, it's like, "Oh my goodness." But these kids are adjusting to new technology like every other week
Right.
practically.
Right.
Yeah.
Even look at AI in the past 2 years and how much it's adapted and
Yeah.
grown and changed, and getting our students ready for that world and
Yeah.
being able to think critically and ethically about the use of AI it's just a whole different world.
No. I read that one of the colleges is going back to testing with blue books and
Oh,
pencils
I did
because
that.
you can't cheat and use ChatGPT or anything, and I was thinking that's how you do your essays on Friday if you're an English teacher. You give
Yes,
them a prompt, they write it, and
yes,
you sit there and grade all their other papers while they do that.
yes.
Yeah. And you bring back cursive, and then they can
Oh
volunteer,
no.
reading the Declaration of Independence or something for the National
Oh,
Archives.
I'm not sure if I'd go that far. I think that's going to be a specialty in
I
the
know, it
future.
is. But, you can't read, like, your grandparents' letters now if you don't know
Yeah,
cursive. It's
right.
it's it's one of those things. Maybe they could have it, like, as an extra.
Yes, yes.
Yes. We'll be back in a moment with more Conversations Different.
Experience the beauty of Santa Fe living at the 2025 Haciendas, a Parade of Homes. August 8th through 10th and 15th through 17th, tour stunning new homes built with quality, craftsmanship, and Santa Fe style. Presented by the Santa Fe Area Home Builders Association, this parade highlights the best in responsible construction and home ownership in northern New Mexico. Plan your visit at santafeparadeofhomes.com.
We are back with Dr. Christine Griffin of the Santa Fe Public Schools. I think you might be, I'm trying to think, to like the eighth superintendent of the Santa Fe Public Schools that I have met in my lifetime. And it's a big job, and you're such a focus for the community. What have you had? I know you're learning the schools, but you're probably also meeting all the big shots in town. Have you
Mhm.
been talking to people, speaking at groups? How are you getting out and about to learn more about the town?
So very intentionally, it's mostly through people who know people, right? And so they're board members who want to introduce me to the president of the community college or state legislatures I'm going to start meeting with over the next few weeks. Those meetings are being set up. I've had several community groups reach out to me, and I've welcomed them into my office just to have that initial conversation. I'm working right now with our um, family and community engagement specialists on creating some forums. It's very important to me during, especially this first 6 months to a year, to be able to get out there and hear from the community, hear from the families, hear from the students. And I have to give them opportunities to have access to me. So we'll be really intentional. We'll advertise those things just so that way I can really understand uh, what is needed and what people want for our schools.
I think that's so important because so often you have years of education, experience, and expertise, and it's so easy to come and say, "Well, I know this would work here." But if
Right.
you listen, it might work here, but then you can adapt it to the conditions on the ground, so to speak.
Yeah. One of the things I have learned is it doesn't matter what I want. What matters is what people want and what
Yeah.
people need and what they to really listen and hear. It may not always be like the first thing that they want, but it may be that underlying, like, this is really, really what we need. And let's
Yeah.
figure out a way to make that happen.
That's so important. I was told by some of my friends with children in high school, since I got to talk to you before they did, to
Yeah.
say, please make the teachers who are using standards-based grading actually grade the papers every couple of days. So we don't wait till the end of the semester thinking our kid had a B and find
Yeah.
out, no, they really had an F
Yeah. I
because it only works if they grade quickly.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. It's super interesting to hear and kind of unpack standards-based instruction.
Yep.
I understand the importance of it, especially when it comes to providing equitable learning experiences across the district. So I understand the foundation of standards-based instruction, and really, it is the future. And it's been rolled out here over the past 5 years, but there's always opportunity to iterate, right?
Yes.
We've tried this. What is it that's working well, and how do we continue to advance it so it becomes better and more usable for our families and for our students? And what you just said was that we just need to grade quicker to be able to provide that immediate feedback to students.
Right. Because
So,
that's the point of standards-based grading is that you learn what you don't know, you do it again and you get better. And at the end, hopefully you'll have a decent outcome to show for it. But uh this has been it's a learning experience for everybody. And I guess some teachers just get overwhelmed and they're behind.
yes, yes, especially at a high school level when you probably have at least 120 kids on your roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot. What has surprised you about Santa Fe?
Honestly, it's been how friendly the people are. I I don't know why, but it's really warming. I actually got a little emotional about it this morning because people are it's like family, and it feels like family. I
Oh,
just yeah, it's and family isn't sometimes they bicker and sometimes, but there's so much history and they're just so rooted into the culture here. It's I didn't expect it to affect me like it has.
oh,
So,
that's really nice because Santa Fe is one of those places where people who have been here for so many generations, and are watching their grandchildren or even great grandchildren play for the Demons, it really affects you, and you want the schools to be as wonderful as possible.
yes. Yeah, it's an honor. It really is an honor. Yeah, like I said, I got a little emotional this morning because it's like a homecoming.
Oh, that's pretty exciting. How do you start? What do you do to start the school year? Like, is there like a big, party at the park,
Mhm.
or do you visit a school, or how does that going to take off? Because it's coming up.
Yeah, it definitely is coming up. So a lot of our principals aren't on contract now. They don't actually start just till a few days before the students. So when the principals come back and all of the leadership team is together, we'll have a leadership kickoff that I'll get to give them my encouragement and also my goals for the next 6 months to a year, and a little bit of my vision and hope for the future. And then, as far as the principals, we'll have a meeting together as well. And I want to be in the trainings with them and learning beside them the things that they're going to be rolling out this year. Typically, there is a big to do where I would bring in the entire district all staffed together. I don't know if that's been done since COVID, and I don't want to implement something that grand in 2 weeks. So I will be purposefully getting out to all of the sites within the first 2 weeks of school. Hopefully, the principals will have a little bit of time for me just to be able to say hello to their staff as well.
That's going to be fun because people
Yeah,
like to know the superintendent. I mean, in the case where, like with Eddie Ortiz, he grew up as a teacher here, was a principal, so everybody'd known him for years. But that's different when you're coming from the outside, which isn't a bad thing, but it's just that they have to know you in a different way.
absolutely. Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't have all of the history.
Yeah, that's right. What was your teaching specialty when you were a teacher?
Students. People ask me, "What's your favorite subject?" And I'm like, "I didn't really have a favorite subject." I got into education a little bit late. I wasn't sure. I graduated from high school. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I sort of fumbled through my 20s, and really the idea of no student should graduate without a plan, right?
Yes.
They need a plan. And the fact that I didn't have a plan was probably one of the biggest things that drove me into education, because I wanted to be that champion for children of saying, like, these are your strengths. These are the things that you like. Try this, right? Like, just, let's get you ready for that first step. So my degree was in elementary and special education. So I did both third through eighth grade general ed, kindergarten through eighth grade special ed. I had time as an instructional specialist. Got my reading endorsement. So then I was an interventionist. I was a principal for 8 years. and then just executive director, and then also superintendent. And it's always about the students. It
Right.
always, and in order to really do good by the students, you have to have great teachers.
Yeah. No, that's the end all and be all, and to
Yeah.
have great teachers, you also usually have to have a great principal who can
Yes.
run a school beautifully. It's,
Yes.
the difference in principals, both as a student and then as a parent with a kid, that makes all the difference.
I couldn't agree more. And that's
Yeah,
why I really have to have that intention of getting to know the principals.
yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. On that note, we'll take a quick break and be back in a moment with more Conversations Different.
We make renewable doable. We're positive energy solar for a cleaner, brighter future for all. Positive energy's the right call. Feel good about your energy bill. Help save the planet too. Your trusted solar company, working hard for you. Generate positive energy. Positive energy solar.
We are back with Conversations Different and Dr. Christine Griffin. Obviously, you've been meeting a bunch of adults, but talk about any students you might have met, because after all, that's the whole point of it.
So I've been lucky enough to meet with two graduates separately, and one was from Mandela and one was from Santa Fe High School. And really to hear them speak specifically about student voice and the how will I engage students and hear from students, and that's the best part. I loved hearing their ideas and bouncing ideas off of them, and just talking about having like a student advisory committee and having representation, or just even making it out to their schools during lunches, because they're like one of their needs or issues or things that they felt like needed to be addressed were school lunches, of course. And so I want to go have lunch with them. I want to go see what this is about, and I'm ready for them to be back in school so I can start meeting them.
One of the things that people will tell you about school lunches is that there's too much processed food, even though everyone's trying to get away from that.
Yeah.
And another one of my friends who's a parent, I keep telling her, just take pictures of the lunches if they're as bad as you say, because then I'll have proof. Because I
Yes.
can't complain and write an editorial unless I have proof. But the cook at Turquoise Trail, which is a charter elementary school, posts the sweetest pictures of her lunches and all the different kinds of good foods that she puts together for kids. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that can be spread across 20 schools or 30 schools or whatever, but if they could, that lady's lunches, I mean, you'd want to go eat lunch there and pay, $5 for it. It's so good.
Well, I have heard those both of those students attested to the fact that our school lunches have gotten better. But
Yay.
they're just worried about like the speed and the service and just things like that. And I know that I have not met food and nutrition yet, but they are on my list. So
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear about the things they've done to improve the lunches, because I
Yeah.
know that they are headed on the right path.
No, she's a great lady. She was on my podcast last year talking about, cooking and all the ways she learned to cook and what you do to scale up for a big school. And I think there's progress, but I know people, want to go to lunch and not have skinny pizza or whatever that they do have, kind of.
Yeah, and it's hard because a lot of times those healthy things aren't necessarily the things the kids are going to pick. So
Right.
there's this sort of balance of we want them to eat.
That's right, and you don't want the
Yeah,
food to end up in the trash can
right,
and yeah,
right.
all of that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why cooking with kids, I think, has been so helpful in the Santa Fe Public Schools, because they introduced, purple lettuce and different kinds of foods from around the world, and then kids would go home and make it with their
yeah.
families, and then they'd want it in the cafeteria.
I just was able to visit the Cooking with Kids classroom at our preschool, and I was blown away. And their little tables and the little chef hats, and
Yep.
I so cute. I
Yeah,
love that
it
we
is,
do
and
that.
it's helped. I still have, my kids' 3rd grade Cooking with Kids or 4th grade Cooking with Kids cookbook. It was very helpful, and I don't like to cook, so the ease of it was
Yes.
wonderful.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So good.
That's great.
Do you have any immediate, I don't know, staff changes at the top? Because I know some people have left or retired, or just any new things coming up at this point that you want to let people know about?
So we have had some staff changes with our administration, but all of those positions have been filled, so that's good. We're again, this is kind of the time of year where people take some vacation time, so I'm getting parts of my administration team, but not all of them together at once. So we'll get there. As far as anything new, I'm not really thinking of anything at the moment. I probably should have been prepared for that one.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just because some people have like to come in and change a bunch of stuff. That was Joel Boyd when he took
Oh,
over.
okay.
And other people watch and see what needs to be done, and both systems can work depending on what's
Yeah.
necessary. And it's just, you know, parents always want the calendar earlier. That's another thing.
Okay.
There's a group called Raising Santa Fe that people post on in Facebook, and they'll
Okay.
say, "Who knows the calendar? When is the start date?" And I don't care how early they decide it, they're still asking it. If they did it in January, they would ask it in December. So
Okay.
those kinds of things, they're
Well,
always
they wanna
interested in
they
more.
wanna plan their year, they wanna be
Yeah.
able to know they don't wanna miss anything either, they wanna be prepared, so I totally understand that. My goal really is to look and learn, and if there's things that need to be addressed immediately that are a risk or, then I will take action on those things, but really the most important thing is for me to really seek to understand and hear from our families and our community and our teachers, what is it that they want? Yeah.
One of the important things coming up in November, of course, you'll have a school board election, but you're also
Mhm.
going to be presenting a bond issue, which may or may not contain, well, I guess it does contain information about combining administration, but also the fate of EJ Martinez and Chapperel. Well, EJ and Chapperel are kind of joint together. So, as a person who manages money, how do you go out to the community and talk about this, considering the declining enrollment and the fact that the two campuses are housed comfortably on one site now?
Yes. So one of the things that I think it was my first week here was the facilities management plan, and it was a really thoughtful presentation. I don't know if you had a chance to review it, but in that information was shared about how our buildings are not at capacity, that our buildings are underused, and that we have a declining student enrollment, and that looking at rebuilding a school right now is not the most fiscally responsible thing, and that we have to look at how do we best serve the students that we have in our current spaces, and that's really where that reimagination of education comes into play. And so how do we use our facilities in a way that embraces the 21st century learner, that really provides personalized learning for each individual in a space that is conducive to a very different environment than it was in the 90s, you know, when a lot of these schools were maybe built.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always amazed me that Santa Fe schools don't seem to last that long, as structures. And I don't know if it's the weather or what it is because uh, I'm from New Mexico, but we went away for a while. And my high school was built in 1932, and it is the most gorgeous building you could ever see, even though it's in a really flat West Texas town. And when I came back to cover schools in Santa Fe, you have these little buildings that, like Wood Gormley is an old school, Acequia Madre. There's some old
Right.
buildings, but a lot of the newer buildings just didn't seem to hold up very well for
Mhm.
whatever reason.
Same in Arizona, and maybe it's just the system of how we set it up with how we have to go through procurement and we have to follow certain
Yeah.
guidelines with how we build schools. But also, it's weather's harsh
Yeah.
and it's higher elevation, and you know things aren't built to last anymore. You know that when you go purchase a refrigerator or a washing machine, you know they used to last decades, and now we're lucky to get 5 years out of them.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
so
true. That's true.
yeah, yeah.
Is
So
there any
anyway,
thought about figuring out a plan? Let's say if you were starting from scratch and you have
yes.
8,000 students,
Hmm.
and you say for 8,000 students, we need 10 elementary schools, 2 junior highs, 3 high schools, 1 high school, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, you grow piecemeal as opposed to being a planned community. How is the superintendent, with fresh eyes on the place,
Hmm.
can you look at it and say, we have the right amount of schools, we don't have the right amount of schools? And I know that's a long process, but
Yeah.
is that in the back of your head at all?
Yeah, it's 100% in the back of my head. One of the things that when my previous district that I was in, we reorganized, and so we moved kids around, we moved school, and it was super thoughtful and a lot of community input and a superintendent advisory committee that went through and said, here are some possible solutions: Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, Plan D. Let's go out and let's hear from all of the schools, all of the families. Let's be available to hear from them. And then let's make a decision based on that information and really not just listen, but take action based on what we were hearing. That's something that can happen later. Yeah, it's something that also is really exciting for me because there is so much space to grow and to grow some really innovative programs for students that can meet each individual's needs is I'm like I'm excited about that.
Yeah. It is exciting. And if you could meet people more individually, perhaps the people that are now going to charter elementary schools might say, I have a home in the Santa Fe Public Schools, because one of the reasons you're losing population isn't just the birth rate. It's we never had charter elementaries except for
Sure.
Turquoise Trail a long time ago, but that's changing. And that's a real
Yeah.
threat to the to the population of the public schools.
Yeah, Arizona, huge on schools of choice, lots
Yep.
of charter schools, and I always wanted to be the choice as the
Yeah.
public education um, our whole role in the community. We are the hub of the community. We have to really be the choice for
Yeah.
families.
Yeah, that's a great attitude because it sounds like you're not taking it for granted, which I think we did too long in public education. It's like we're the choice because you've looked at the options and you want us.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. Like,
yeah.
and also we can provide so much more than than what they're offering.
No, that's true. And I used to say that middle school in sixth grade, they all have the go to middle school night, and every middle school in town has one. And the public schools finally started doing their own, which was awesome
Yeah.
because it was like a life raft. And the parents were thinking, if I don't get to charter A or B, my
Hmm.
kid will die and drown in the
Yes.
public middle school. And that attitude really sells short, like, the art classes, the music classes, the
Hmm.
different offerings that you
The
have at both
sports.
Ortiz and Milagro. Sports. Yes.
Yes.
So I hope that that's, part of it, you got to sell it.
Yeah. I also I know that we've done this here and it's really high on my priority list of introducing career pathways at a middle school level and really bringing that down those community college connections to the middle schoolers is it's just there's so many things that good things we can do for kids and I there's a lot of already really good things going on here.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things is you're going to be the public cheerleader for the district and let people
Yeah.
know what's happening and also how we in the community can help you.
Yes.
So,
Yes. And how we can help the community too. I That's a two-way street.
oh, I like that. On that note, this has been another Conversations Different. We'll be back next week. Thank you for listening to Conversations Different, hosted by me, Inez Russell Gomez, editorial page editor for the Santa Fe New Mexican. Our weekly episodes would not be possible without your support. We hope you enjoy them and keep listening. New episodes drop every Tuesday. Consider signing up for our newsletter so you never miss an episode, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the Santa Fe New Mexican. Our podcast is available by visiting our website, santafenewmexican.com/podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Conversations Different with Inez Russell Gomez is produced by Matt Dalside and Ernesto Cisneros, published by the Santa Fe New Mexican. a local and independent newspaper owned by Robin Martin.